So this may not be the best time to make this video, but I wanted to talk about this before the Canadiens played their next game. So a few days ago, the Canadiens played off against the Pittsburgh Penguins, and before that game began, we made this video here on the channel, talking about how Pittsburgh Penguins superstars Sidney Crosby and Erik Karlsson spoke out about Lane Hutson with some very generous praise. Well, we're back at it again, folks, because we are going over some of these same ideas because there were some more comments discussed by Pittsburgh Penguins legends in regards to the Montreal Canadiens' young D-man. Because, as we had said in the video, it takes one to know one, right? And for Erik Karlsson, he is one of these guys that was so good, so talented, and such a powerhouse of an offensive D-man that if there's anybody that's going to have the ability to identify what makes one of these players work, it's him. And because Erik Karlsson spoke out about Hutson in a very positive way, it was a great idea, it was a great tribute, even Evgeny Malkin was getting kind of interested in talking about this guy. But Francis Gagnon on RDS went out there and spoke about even more comments that were shared about Hutson from Pittsburgh Penguins phenoms. Take a look at this post made by GoHabsGo31 on the RHabs subreddit. Francois Gagnon on RDS said he spoke to Kris Letang about Lane Hutson after the game yesterday, who had some interesting things to say. Kris Letang said this, that Lane Hutson is impressive, the way he skates, the way he's in control on the ice. He's a rookie, but we had a scouting report on him. I heard the crowd every time he had the puck. It actually gave me goosebumps. But when the crowd reacts to everything you do, it can be dangerous, because then you be influenced by them and then you can try to do too much. The scouting report that we had on Lane Hutson said to give him a little bit of time and space to make him feel overconfident to create something, before collapsing on him and taking away all of his options, leading to turnovers. But disregard the -4 he had in the game. With the number of quality scoring chances he created, his teammates could have scored 1 or 2 or 3 goals. A game like tonight will be a learning lesson for him. And I like these comments a lot because they're very smart. Kris Letang is not the best defenseman in the NHL, nor do I think he ever really was. I think Erik Karlsson and Drew Doughty were in their primes whilst Letang was doing his thing. He's only been a Norris finalist once after all. But his long, tenured career with the Pittsburgh Penguins with Crosby and Malkin puts him in a territory of greats, not to mention the fact that he's got 3 Stanley Cups and a bunch of NHL second All-Star team nominations. He's been a really good player, and even though he doesn't have that Norris, he still was one of the top defensemen in the league consistently for about a decade and a half, pretty much. So for him to go out there and make these comments, they're coming from a really good place of expertise, and the way he describes everything here is pretty accurate too. I mean, going out there and talking about the crowd and how impressive he is, Hutson that is, yeah, that's great and all, but I think where the expertise comes in is what Letang says about Hutson's scouting report. Give Lane Hutson time and space, make him feel overconfident, which gives him the ability to maybe do something, and then, after he ignites, that's when we collapse on him and take away all of his options. It's a really interesting and dynamic way to assess Lane Hutson as a player, because when he is forced to make a move, yeah, okay, he'll make a pass, he'll make a play or something, he'll do something to make everything work, but if you just kind of lay back, you give him even more space, that's when he gets overconfident, that's when he starts to get himself into maybe a little bit too much danger, and then you collapse on him. This is actually talked about in the comment section below. All the Smoke said this. Yeah, the scouting report was bang on. Hutson in that game had space, and he tried to use it, which burned him a few times, especially on goal 4 or goal 5, I don't remember. He's young though, he's gonna learn. That's great feedback for Lane from Kris Letang, really nice of him. Such a class act. Then, CMDR Traff goes out there and replies, I think you're referring to goal 5. I see a lot of people putting that goal on him because he carried the puck deep down the right side, got squeezed for space, and resorted to throwing the puck back in front of the net. The thing is that while that maybe started off the play, there's also a lot of errors in the way the rest of the Habs reacted to it. Cole, Nick, and Slav were far too passive and didn't move to give Lane an option. Then Slav tried to hold the line and steal the boards as the point man covering for Lane. Matheson also didn't identify the danger of not having control in the pen zone while he was the only defenseman back. He should have retreated earlier and never lost the race to the puck. And I love these intricate breakdowns of plays because obviously, hockey is hockey. It's 5 guys on the team at a time, and the goalie. So there are 5 different ideas, 5 different perspectives as to what's going on, and when each one of them makes a small, casual, maybe careless mistake, it can pile up into a rush like we had seen the other night, where Lars Eller comes in on Juraj Slafkovsky of all people and just decides to shoot it because, hey, this Slafkovsky guy's not a D-man, he can't check me properly. Lane Hutson literally caused it to happen, or at least he was one of the 5 aspects that led to it happening. And Kris Letang's assessment of what to do to shut him down is exactly what applied here. Give him space, allow him to do something, and then clog him off. Then he'll make a pass, then it'll go the other way, and then he's caught off his positioning. Matheson made a mistake, he was a little bit too late. Juraj Slafkovsky didn't really seal the boards properly. Caulfield and Nick were a little bit too passive. There are a lot of mistakes here, and it led to a goal. However, there is another reply that I wanted to go out there and say here too. Yeah, the guys will get used to playing with Hutson and having their defensemen go that deep into the offensive zone. Last night, it felt like a perfect example of everything that's still wrong with this team, which is fine for now, but it's a good example of what we need to work on. The Boston game too. And then there's a lot of other people going out there and talking about whether or not Hudson's pass into the middle was the error, or him pinching in the first place was the error. Pittsburgh seems to have gotten that down on lock, though. That's the report. Give him that space. And ultimately, I do think that as the Canadiens get used to Hutson and his gameplay, it'll be easier to read these. I mean, what? Hutson has played for so few games in the NHL so far that a lot of his teammates are still trying to adjust because they've never had a teammate that can do this on the blue line. Vancouver, it took a while for the Canucks to fully understand Quinn Hughes and give him free rein to do whatever it is that he wants. And right now for the Habs, because you have Mike Matheson on that first unit as well in the power play, it slows down the exposure for the other Canadiens forwards in acknowledging what Lane Hutson's strengths and weaknesses are. Okay, if he's pinching down, somebody's got to cover. Okay, he's pinching down, we gotta get open. We gotta make sure we're in a good spot so he can set us up. Lane Hutson's got the vision and passing ability of a hawk, so if we're able to find ourselves in an open space, then he's gonna throw it over to us. That's sort of the response that needs to be there. And obviously, I'm just some guy in my computer chair talking about abstract ideas without any charts in front of me, but in theory, it makes sense, and when it does make sense, when it does get applied, when we actually see goals go in this kind of way, it's going to be so beautiful as Montreal Canadiens fans to acknowledge the full potential of what Hutson is capable of. So for Kris Letang to go out there and make these comments, I like them a lot. I thought they were very appreciated, and I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below if you're feeling the same way, if you think Letang's scouting report has any truth to it, and what perspective Lane Hutson as a player can gain from these comments being made. It doesn't seem like Letang told Hutson them directly, it just seems like he had told Francois Gagnon and RDS, who ended up sharing it to the media afterwards, but I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. The article, or not the article, the Reddit post, will also be linked in the description if you wanted to read more about the comments and see more deep dives into that Lars Eller goal that everybody was talking about, but let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Either way, I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.